The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Mindset Marketing Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry. With your host, Marie Mason.
Okay, I'm dancing everywhere.
Hello. We're back.
Yeah, we have an exciting show for you and a great guest coming up. Oh my gosh, she's gonna have so much. We're gonna have so much fun with her. So, I hope everyone had a great Father's Day weekend in the U.S. because we had that, and thank yous for all the dads out there for all your hard work, especially to Dean Piper, our radio station owner, and my husband Kelly Mason. I forgot to mention that last week. Shame on me. And also my father-in-law, Carl Mason, and my father, who was passed away in 2008, but is still alive in my heart. His name is Charles Doran, and oh my gosh, it's those dads that just like moms, they have a special place in your heart, and oh my gosh, we wouldn't be here without them. So,
yeah, well, like you say last time, like it was a Father's Day just a few days later, and you said, Happy Father's Day to everybody. So
I didn't miss
it's okay. Even if you don't do names and you don't make names, it's okay.
That's true. Thank you, Plinny.
They know you mean them as well. So it's okay.
I appreciate that. So yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I just realized that after I got off the show, and they're like, why didn't I not think about that? It's one of those moments where you think you wish you had remembered kind of moments, after the fact. So I appreciate that. So, but we have such a good story today and a guest. And before we bring her up, we're going to mention what it is, who she is first, and what she's going to talk about. And then Plinny has something she wants to share before we bring her up. But real quick, our talented guest today is Hannah, and I'm hoping I can pronounce it correctly, Kupoluyi, and she's going to have to correct me later. I don't know if you know how to pronounce it. And then she's an award-winning founder of All Women's Network, and she's a podcast host herself, which is awesome. She is a multimedia trainer, conference facilitator, video and podcast producer herself, and her topic is on crafting the message to your story, and it's specifically for podcasting. So that's so exciting. So before we bring her up, Plinny, do you have something you want to share with us today? And I think she froze. Okay. So real quickly, I think I'll just do this piece, Plinny, for you until you can come on and you can bring on the YouTube channel. How's that? So before we bring up our guest, just to remind you that we do have a Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show shop that actually has great gifts for your dads, your loved ones, your moms, all the special people in your life. We have mugs, t-shirts, tanks, hats, backpacks, and so much more. They're great for birthdays, anniversaries, and graduations, which are coming up if they haven't already. So we are currently shipping to the US and Canada only, though we are starting to open up. In fact, this summer I'm going to open up to the rest of the world starting in July. So definitely make sure you let us know where you're from and if you would like to be shipped into your country. So all proceeds do help keep the show running every week on the air. So go to our website and grab and check out the merchandise at www.libertyvirtualsolutions.com/shop. And Plinny, would you like to talk about the next little tip we always like to share? Are you here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we talk about like the marketing mastery shop, right?
Yes, we just did that.
And so don't forget, we have also our YouTube channel, and the good thing about that is that you can follow us there, so you can watch us, not only listening to us, but all the episodes are there. So go on YouTube and look for the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show, and you will find all the episodes there. We had such great, amazing guests talking about mindset, talking about marketing, and more than that. So you will find every little tip for your business and even for your life.
Yeah.
Mindset is always there, right?
Yeah, exactly. We talk about business owner mindset also. We talk about inner you topics, like Regina Robinson's one of our two-time guests who's talk about confidence. We've had talk about all sorts of wonderful, amazing things. And we also are on speakers and Spotify and Apple as well. And and you can even hear us on Audible has picked us up, and even Amazon has picked us up, which is really amazing.
So
And
no more excuses.
yeah, no more excuses. Watch all the replays on those channels and you won't miss a beat. So we would love it if you would just love us and subscribe us and share us with the world. We want to go viral. So with that,
And we want to say also that they can comment. So if you're listening to us live, you can actually make the questions to our speaker and they will answer live. So why you just go there and comment there. And if you connect on our Facebook page, you have to give the StreamYard the permit to share your comment. About we can see actually your comments. If you comment during the show, we can actually read your questions live.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
whoa,
That's very well said. Not to mention that on our YouTube channel, you will be able to see your questions live when they go on there too. So now, if you're doing the audio, we can't do that, but you can still ask the questions to the audience, to our guests. So please make sure you go onto the YouTube channel or our Facebook group. And the Facebook group is actually Liberty Virtual Solutions, and it's a group. So please make sure you look for me and also our logos or our name of our company. So with that, Plinny, would you like to do the honors of introducing our guest today?
Absolutely. We already met her on the backstage.
Yes.
She's amazing. She's a beautiful voice.
Yes.
So our guest is Hannah Kupoluyi, and she's the founder of Podcast Creator Network, a platform that supports aspiring podcasters. So wow, now is the moment. And you can learn how to start and launch your own podcast show, because she is the host also of a Bird Your Vision podcast. And a show that spotlights global inspirational women in business stories. So very interesting. You can create your network with all her network. And today's topic is crafting the message to your story. Because if you're in business, the way you talk is so important. So make sure you listen to our broadcast on W4CY Radio every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, USA. And take it away, Hannah.
Come on down. So we want to give you the stage feel since we're doing this virtually.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you so much, Marie, and the wonderful Leni. Thank you so much for the platform, for the opportunity, for inviting me to such a great radio talk show. I'm so excited and I'm ready to go. Thank you so much, ladies.
My pleasure. We really were excited when you agreed to come join us. So yes, awesome. So we have a few questions for you to get started with. And the first question I want to ask you, I ask all my guests this too. And then could you at least tell us, and I'm going to give you some openings. What made you decide, or how did you get to become a radio podcast host? And I'm just wanting to, what started your career path? I mean, because everybody has a different story. So I know since we're talking about stories, I thought it'd be very pertinent for you to sit there and do a quick synopsis of how you became a radio talk show podcaster as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. So, I developed my interest just before the pandemic, hit the world, actually. And I had an interest in connecting with women and also, using my voice as a tool to be able to empower global women, leading women in business, for them to be able to share their story and also to help them to amplify their voices, whilst also spotlighting them on my Birth Your Vision podcast show. And so, one of my skill sets is actually interviewing people and also using my voice to be able to present and also communicate with people. And so I've always had that interest in definitely connecting with people, networking. Those things has actually made me feel very, very comfortable. And so during the pandemic, we wasn't really allowed to go nowhere, and it was very difficult. It was very hard. I normally just sort of run my networking events for women, hosting it offline, and then we couldn't really do nothing. So I decided to kind of just dust off my old laptop, as well as my very, very shabby headphones, and I decided to kind of just plug in and start reaching out to women around the world, asking them how are they actually pivoting their business, what are they doing currently that could actually help other people who are currently struggling to be able to kind of scale their business, especially during that lockdown period. It was very difficult for many businesses. They were closing, and even though some businesses were shutting down, other businesses were actually scaling. And I wanted to interview women who were actually doing so well in their business. How were they able to pivot? And so I decided to take podcasting on. And I had the skills of interviewing people already. I had the skills of communicating. And so that it was quite easy for me to actually flow and get people to come in. And then I decided to choose a interview format to start interviewing people. And so I was able to reach over 50 women between that period. And so the numbers is growing daily. I'm able to kind of come to your kind of show. These are some of the benefits of me stepping out of my comfort zone and really kind of now, turning my skills and monetizing and leveraging it. And that's how I was able to kind of really kind of follow this pathway. And I felt very happy and very content with this. It's almost like once you find your purpose, this is your lane.
Exactly. No, you said that so well. You
Yeah,
have to find
it's
your
really
purpose.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how you started actually because of curiosity. Just
Yes.
how the others are doing in this moment, how they are actually reacting to this, how they're changing their business because of this. That was your curiosity and brought you to create
Exactly.
a podcast and get in contact.
Mhm.
Really, really interesting. Because a lot of people don't do that. They are just wondering, what am I talking about? Just go with something you're curious. There was something you personally want to know, right?
Absolutely. It's because I actually went into it with curiosity. I wanted to know what was other people doing that others can actually learn from. And, the benefit of podcasting has really made me to be an authority figure in my field. I've been able to now build, my own influence and also trust in this area. I've been able to gain credibility and also, establish my expertise. And it's really amazing how you can actually turn a simple skill, right, into a great business within the comfort of your home. Everything happened during the pandemic. And this is something that many women can actually learn from, that you can actually turn your skills into a money-making, profit-making business within the comfort of your home. But you need to have a strategy.
Yep. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can hear that passion, and I'm going to go. So,
Yeah.
and so podcasting is clearly your podcasting and connecting are clearly your passions. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
That is so cool. So a little bit about, I really want, you mentioned the strategy. So I know that we're going to have a little bit of a different talk, but I mean, I did want to ask, what was your strategy to get, I know you already had talked about how you got out of your comfort zone and did the podcasting, but how is your strategy for growing your podcast and growing and, working on that, marketing aspect of it?
Yeah. So when I started, my strategy was to get as many women as possible and also to be able to really master the skills of podcasting. And I had two coaches who were very much working alongside with me, and they saw the passion, they saw the vision, and they directed me and really guided me as well as encouraged me to kind of own this space. And so I just ran with that. And I felt very comfortable, but I just needed a little bit of validation from my coaches. And they were both two different coaches from two different areas of works of life. And they both said the same thing. And so you know that you are in the right space. And so I just ran with it. But then before I ran with it, everything that I do, I must set goals first,
Yep.
and I must have a strategy in place. So what's the plan apart from just interviewing women around the world? Well, the strategy is you've got to be able to offer something, right? You've got to have a CTA, something, to do with call to action, so that when you are standing powerfully online and you're sharing your story, your message, there is another opportunity for those who are listening to you, who are your target audience, for them to be able to reach out to you, because they can actually hear that you can actually offer solutions to their challenges or to their adversities, right? So I went in there saying to myself, apart from interviewing, I'm going to offer a product, I'm going to offer a service. And so, Podcast Creators Network was birthed because I wanted to be able to offer podcast productions to the women that I was interviewing, because they were business women, and those are my target audience, women who are already, in their business, they already have a business, and so they're looking for a marketing tool, which is podcasting, to even help them to amplify their message even more further, to even help them to be able to have a greater brand awareness, and also build a larger network around the world, and really share and craft their message and their story. So that was my strategy, to be able to launch my own show, but at the same time to offer support to help them to also be podcast guest on my show, and also offer my services in terms of helping them to start and launch their own podcast.
Which is brilliant and very much needed.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I really loved how you phrased all that too. So it just perfectly done. So tell me a little bit. We talked about, you mentioned a couple times about, and in the title, of course, is crafting your message. So could you
Yes.
tell me a little bit what crafting your message means?
Absolutely. So, crafting your message is basically a powerful way for you to share your story. Every brand has a story.
Hmm.
Every brand has a story. And that story is how people come to understand your store, your concept, your business, or, sometimes, the structure and the mission and the vision of your business. So telling that story is a really, really good, important thing for you to be able to do as a business. Telling that story well is a crucial element of brand success, and also making sure that your business lives up to its potential. So, number one, when it comes to crafting your story, one of the first things that you want to do is to actually work out who your audience is, right? Because you are serving them. Then you want to get to work on telling that story, making sure that it resonates with your ideal clients and your audience. So, it's important that you start with a goal, and it's really about, it's not just about the story, but it's about the message in the story. And so when you start with a goal, it's important for you to actually write down some questions. And some of the questions that I've come up with is, what are you trying to communicate? We've got to get that message very clear. And what is the action you want to actually allow your audience to actually listen to? What is the action you want your listeners to take on, right? And also writing down the key points of that message. So once you're able to now finalize that and put all that together, the rest of the process becomes a lot more easier. And so, I want to really kind of share with you the 3 steps of crafting a very much powerful message. So,
Perfect.
number one, it's
That's
about,
great.
number one, it's about you determining the who. So remember, I talked about your audience, understanding who they are. And then under that, you want to kind of write some setting questions of who your audience is and why are they here? What are they here for? Why are they here? And also, what do they care about? Those things are very important. So that is step 1 to crafting a powerful message. Then step 2, it's about working out your what. That is very important. So that means, what do you want the audience to know? What do you want the audience to think about or to say or to do as a result of hearing your message? So these things are so vital when it comes to crafting a very powerful message. And then step 3, it's really about work on your how. And that, goes with how can you craft and deliver the message in a way that actually helps you to achieve your goals. So these are the 3 steps when it comes to crafting a very powerful message. And really leading on to that, it's also important for you to be able to craft a very a message that would actually allow you to be able to add 3 steps, which is the hook, the story, and the offer. Right? Have you heard that before? The
Yep.
hook, the story, and the offer. Right? So number 1, the hook is typically a very short and bold, shocking statement, at the beginning, especially for people who are doing marketing. And so in order for you to really allow the hook to really engage your audience, you have to ensure that it is personal and it actually kind of meets their emotional needs as well. So it needs to really connect with them. Otherwise, it won't really be a hook, would it? Because then your audience will not be able to relate to it. So for
it's
example,
like they have to recognize themselves in what you're saying.
absolutely.
Say, here I
Yes.
am. That you're talking about me.
You're talking
Yeah.
about me. What is the product? What is the service? I want to buy it now without you even selling too much. I think we're going to get to that question another time. So, you have to work on the hook. So, for example, what I've done is to actually kind of, paint a case study, a scenario. So, first you've got to identify your target audience pain points. You've got to understand what it is, because once you know what it is, you're able to actually put together, follow these 3 steps, which is the hook, the story, and the offer. So, the hook, for example, is, do you have an amazing product, but you're struggling to get people to buy it, right? So the pain point is people who want to sell their product, but they are struggling. So that's the pain point, right? And the hook is, do you have an amazing product, but are struggling to get people to buy it? So that hook is very catchy because that is actually somebody's pain point. There are so many people who have products and services, they are struggling to sell it. But when they hear such a hook, they feel attracted already and they want to know more. And so then the next part is the story. So what is the story behind this hook? So your story can be that you started a business and you put quite a lot of startup capital into this business. And so even when you did your launch campaign, it flopped, to be quite honest, and you probably lost almost 15% of what you had invested in it. And so you didn't really make a lot of sales. Your sales figures were very low. And one day you sat down, you were reflecting, and you came across, let's say, a publication or an article. And in this article, there was a simple selling system of how you can actually sell more products and also sell more of your services. And so you were able to now take this amazing simple sales system and now implement it into your business. And within 3 to 6 weeks, your business started to expand and you were growing so fast that you couldn't cope. And now you're making so much money and now you're able to now help other people. Now, do you see the story? It goes alongside the hook. So the hook is, I have a lot of products. I'm not able to sell it. I'm struggling. And the story is, I started a business. I didn't make no sale. My sales campaign was not really successful. My launch campaign was not successful. But I do now have a simple selling system that's actually helped me to now sell even more. And then the final one is actually the offer. So the offer is really very simple. The offer is all about when you now make it very easy for people to actually grab onto what you are offering. So number one, they've already been sold with the hook. They've already heard your story. So now your offer will become so easily for them to actually log on to whatever you're offering. So your offer can actually be a sale. It can actually be you promoting your emails or your newsletter, or even a free event or a webinar. And so an example of an offer in this scenario, in this case study, will be, free 1-day event where I'm going to be able to show you how you can actually start, to increase your sales and to also sell 10 times more of your products in less than 2 weeks. And I'll be able to spend time with you personally to be able to guide you through. And so you'll be able to sell more of your product instantly. So if I hear that, I'm very much excited to join that training or that 1-day event. So when it comes to crafting your message, you have to have the 3 steps, which is, determining the target audience and also finding out who they are and how you can actually, support them with their pain points, the problems, and also find solution to it, and applying these 3 steps, which is the hook, the offer, and the story.
Brilliant. No,
That's
that's
great.
so simple and laid out,
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
follow. So
Mhm.
no, this is exactly what I was looking for, and I'm so glad you were able to join us. But guess what? We got to go to commercial break already. Boy, time flies when you're chatting with us, don't you?
Yeah.
But seriously, oh my gosh, Hannah's agreed to stick around. So if anyone does have any questions, please answer. Definitely say something in the chat, and we will funnel those questions to her. And I want to thank Hannah so much. And please tell me how to pronounce your name because I think I butchered it earlier.
So it's Kupoluyi.
Kupoluyi. Okay, so I wasn't too far off. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Kupoluyi.
awesome. I thank you for that. And she shared so many valuable tips on how our audience could grow themselves and their business on the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. Her topic today is crafting the message to the story. She already gave us such valuable information, but stick around. She's got a lot more. Okay, so don't want to miss all that. So anyway, we are definitely going to have some valuable action steps for our audience to take after the second half as well. So, and also a special gift. So that ends the segment of our show. And you're listening to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason, and my lovely co-host, Plinny Phoenix. And we will be back. We are going to go to commercial break now.
We're taking a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Marketing Mindset Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry, with your host, Marie Mason. The show is brought to you by Liberty Virtual Solutions. We work with business coaches and speakers to help them market and host their webinars and upsell their coaching programs and develop heart-centered relationships with their audience. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Show with your host, Marie Mason, a premier podcast that helps you master your marketing skills.
Welcome back.
I love bebopping to that music every single time. It's just so
Yeah, no, we stay there dancing like all the time with the music, and then we're back. Oh, we're back.
It's really good, actually.
Oh, it's fun. It's very
Very
energetic.
upbeat. Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that's why
it's nice,
I love
isn't it?
So anyway,
So welcome back to the Marketing Mindset
Yep.
Mastery Radio Show.
yeah.
I'm your co-host, Plinny Phoenix, and I'm with the host, Mary Mason. And welcome back to Hannah Kupoluyi. Thank you so much. She shared. So if you are just connecting now, you have to go back to our YouTube video because you have to see and listen or watch the first part because Hannah just told us simple tips to tell you how to do marketing no matter your industry and just conquer your audience and get your right people in front of you. Oh my God. Hannah is a founder of Podcast Creator Network, a platform that supports aspiring podcasters. So now is the moment if you want to do a podcast. So listen to her, follow her. And if you want to start and launch your own podcast show. And she's a host of Birdie Your Vision podcast, a show that spotlights about inspirational women in business stories. So she actually connects all the women in business. And today's topic is crafting the message to your story. So the point where you have to start actually to put your message out there and to find your audience and find your clients, right? So make sure you listen to us in W4CY radio every Thursday at 6 p.m. So Hannah, we talk about like how to do, like to craft your message, how to find the right people you want to work with. And it's so we had I had a question from the first part because you told us all those tips on how to do everything in very easy way. And I'm really curious how you actually, after you frame your message, after you see your why, your what, and how to do all of that, how do you put all that work that you do on the background, and you bring it to your own podcast?
Right. So you need to have a plan in place. And it's very vital that you plan, you have a content planner, and you're able to, schedule and be very productive, because there's a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes that we don't get to see, those who are watching us. And so it's about planning, being productive, being organized, and also, outsourcing if you really need to outsource some certain things. So I'll just talk from my own point of view. So what I do is I have a content calendar to actually help me plan a whole month's podcast with my guest, the interview, what we're going to talk about, and who's going to be on the show. So sometimes I have 2 months booked in advance, so that I'm already, not overworked and not overwhelmed. The idea is not to get yourself overwhelmed and not to get yourself burned out, because you can easily, definitely get yourself burned out, because for me, it's all about consistency.
Yep.
It's about producing content and producing very powerful content online, and also making sure that I'm reaching as much people as possible. And so, part of that is about planning, getting yourself organized. You really need to be organized. If you're not sure how to be organized, I'm able to take you through the steps of how you can actually get yourself organized, and also plan ahead as well. And also reaching out to people who you can actually, get advice and support from, who are doing the same thing that you're doing, asking them questions. How are you planning, for your podcast, for your radio show? What are you doing? It's about speaking out and reaching out to people as well, and also being productive, and stop wasting time on things that are not productive, things that are very time consuming and doesn't really add any value to you. And so those are the things that I do actually to be able to prepare for my show.
I don't mean to, that's a great answer, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to
Yeah,
ask you this. You probably have one of those checklists in your mind. So did I check all, because, we all do. We all have to have a
yeah,
process, right? And so,
absolutely.
and I'm just kind of curious, did I meet all your checklists?
Oh my goodness. I was waiting for you to actually ask me that question, Marie, because one thing about going to other people's podcast is that you're able to actually learn. I'm always learning new things all the time. And what I've realized is, coming to your radio show, the whole email, the communication, it was absolutely spot on.
Thank
I
you.
mean, when I read the initial form, right, the Google form, it was very, very thorough. There's some things that I check against what I did as well, because I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I'm so honored to be here, and also to have actually learned from being on this platform as well, because, we're always learning, and it's amazing how we grow, from learning, and, learning from each other. So I've learned a new thing today, the way you've structured the form, the way you've been able to communicate with me, everything was just spot on. The questions, having a host, to actually co-host with you. So all those things, they're just amazing. And it's really brilliant to be able to see how other people are running their own platform as well.
Well, thank you. And then I have, and I love my dream team, because as
Yeah.
told you backstage, because Rebel is our radio tech, and even though she
Yes.
doesn't like to be like in the spotlight, I'm going to put her on the spotlight. And then Dean Piper is the owner, and he's the one that generates all the links and keeps us, in track. And everybody plays their part. And Pliny's my lovely, talented co-host, so she keeps me on track as well. So yeah, I
Yeah.
have to be accountable every week to this group. So,
Absolutely.
but but I call them my dream team, because without them, we wouldn't be able to make the show work every week.
Yeah.
And so always give praise where praise is due, in my opinion. So, but yeah, but I appreciate the feedback, because it's taken us, we started this in April of 2020, and I started
Yeah.
podcasting in May of 2019. And I learned a lot in those 2 years, in the 2 or 3 years I've been doing it. I lost track of how many years I'm doing it now. So, but long story short, though, it's just been all those forms you see and everything is always trial and error. Nobody really told me what to do. I just kind of figured it out.
Yeah,
And
you're like me.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Even writing,
Same
and
here.
even though we're having this, off the cuff conversation right now, I do also have a script because I need to know
Yeah,
what to tell Rebel and what to tell different people because I can't remember everything. I'm in my 50s,
absolutely.
and I'm not. I have too much other things in my brain to worry about going on in my life. So I have to keep on point, and so it just helps me, stay on point. But and I've said this before to my audience, so they know it's a little bit scripted, but we also do a little bit off the cuff too, because like this was an extra question because I'm
Yeah,
always curious what it is that that you have come away with and with the experience and
yeah,
I would have asked that afterwards show anyway, but this one was
mm,
like related to the topic somewhere like I had
yeah.
to ask. So anyway, so thank you for the feedback. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You've been a wonderful guest so far, and I can't
Thank
wait to keep
you.
keep going with the questions. So Heidi, after that, would you like to ask the next question?
Yeah, no, I'm really curious because we talk how to craft the story and then the offer based on your audience and the people that you want to bring it to you. But I'm really curious because especially now in this moment where everything
Mm,
is all over the place, and
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I passed like through a moment where I didn't know who I was anymore
mm,
what my business was. And actually, I pivoted my business going to another niche of what I do. And
mm.
probably a lot of people did the same. But uh, in all this situation, how do you think people can actually sound authentic when they are podcasting or when they are sending their message?
That's a
Because you
very
get
good
confused,
question.
right? In this moment, you don't know who you are anymore. So how do
Yeah,
you know that you're sounding authentic, that you are your real you, and you can actually connect to your audience?
absolutely. I love that question because, to be quite honest, your story is your story, and no one else can share your story or tell it the way you can tell it.
Hmm.
The message in your story is your message, and that message is a message of transformation.
Yeah,
That message is a message to actually help others who are facing or are in similar situations as you, who have already had those adversities, those challenges in business, or even in life, or in general, um, you know, areas of their life. So your story is about you. You understand? And that's what really makes it real and very powerful. If I was to share your story, the way I would share it, you might not feel the emotions, you might not feel, the real element of it unless it comes out from you. So
right.
what I would
Hmm.
say is be real, because we have so many people who are just trying to be who they're not. Be real, be yourself, and also, share your through authentic story. Be unique, because every story is powerful, every story is unique. And so it's not just about the story, but it's about the message. It's about what we're going to learn in your story, in the journey that you have been through. What is it that we are going to take away from it? You understand? What is it that is going to help us to kind of, use your story and your message as an example to improve our life, to make a difference, to make a change in our life, to make an impact, to help us to become, a leading figure of influence in the society, in our community, or even a leader, a thought leader in our business. So, be authentic with your story and share it the way that you feel your audience will gravitate to it.
No,
So
that's
basically, it's
perfect.
like connecting your strengths with your story, because you can't tell the story of all your life. You needed to talk about the story of a challenge that you get, and you need
Yes,
to choose one among all the stuff that you went through. And do you connect it
absolutely.
with your new strength and how you can actually help the people?
Hmm. And the thing about it is that when you share your story, for example, if you had gone through domestic violence and you share the story of domestic violence, the way you will express your emotion will be totally your personal way. right? It will be through your lens, what you saw, what you felt, the emotions you felt, the struggles you had to go through, how you escaped, the whole violent you had experienced, and you will share it through your lens, and nobody else can take that away from you because that is your story. And when you write that book, you will definitely be able to share more about that journey into that story. And that story will now be something that others will be able to relate to. And that's because you have the gift to share that story yourself, because it is your story. You went through that journey. And so we have to learn to own our story. No matter what we've been through, it is our journey, it is our story. And that is what makes it powerful. And that is what makes it very unique. And now we also have the business story, which is something like that I gave you before when I mentioned about the 3 steps when it comes to crafting your powerful message. So you can see that someone started a business and they weren't able to actually sell the product. So that is a business story for you to be able to now kind of use that as your story, as your business story, to be able to get people to be attracted to the offer and also to the hook as well. So we have different types of stories and different ways to craft it.
That's true. That's brilliantly put.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so funny because I started doing this, working from home and doing my virtual event agency before
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic. But even during the pandemic, I had to rebrand and repivot and just kind of tweak things because, like we talked about earlier, we learn as we go, and
Yes.
we learn what we like and what we don't like and what we want to really make it and what we really want to utilize. And the goal is to utilize your strengths. And if you find that something that you don't really want to work on, and what's our strengths now, might
Mm-hmm.
be something that we might not want to work on. Maybe it doesn't pique our interest. Maybe it doesn't get us excited. So then we
Yeah.
have to change and make those changes. And I've always told people in this audience, it's okay to make a pivot. You don't have to feel stuck. And
Yes.
the key thing is find what you're passionate, like you said earlier, find what you're
Mm-hmm.
passionate about and
Yeah.
make that into your turn that into your business. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to make those changes. I mean, I was just telling somebody this just the other day, earlier today. So this is like a perfect message for that too. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I mean, we are in a season for us to actually monetize our skills. I normally tell the women I work with, make a list of 10 things that you're good at. Within that 10 things, you'll be able to find 3 things that you can actually monetize and turn into a skill. Whatever it is, we all have something. There is something hidden. When we open the palms of our hand, everything we need is within that. The palm, everything you need is right there. You have the power to start. Everything you need, the greatness that you need is already embedded in you. You were born with it. We're all being created fearfully and wonderfully. And so the hidden skills, it's within us. We just need to sit down in our own space and really think about what is it that I'm really good at and how can I actually monetize it. That's what actually encouraged me. That I looked at the skills that I was good at. I had so much skills. And I said, well, Hannah, you can't do everything, can you? You've got to choose one. You've got to choose one and focus on
Have
that
to
niche
choose.
and just own that niche, right? And just win constantly in that niche and do your research, right? And get yourself coached in that area if you're struggling. And so I had to focus and I said, right, podcasting, that's my thing. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I'm passionate about. And I also want to bring people in. There's a saying that if you want to go slow, go as an individual, but if you want to go faster, bring in the crowd. And so I decided, what, it was great for me to actually be able to bring other women in, interview them, give them the spotlight, the opportunity for them to be able to speak and share their story. What has that done for me is actually amplified my voice, my position as a thought leader, as an expert. I'm seen as a host, I'm seen as a producer, and I'm being invited to shows such as yours. So there is power in your hidden skills. If anything, birth it today.
exactly. No, that's why I can't wait
No.
to go on our show next week. I'm really excited to go share with your audience too. So anyway, yeah, that's gonna be a fun show for us. So
Yes.
and one of the things that I really love is how you just be authentic, be yourself,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh, could you kind of elaborate a little bit about how to be authentic in your messaging? Because some of us, there's so much out there as far as what's the word I'm looking for?
Mm.
There's so many scripts and stuff we can follow, but but even if we use a script, we should at least show our authentic self in there. Could you? I know you touched on it earlier, but I wanted you to
Yeah.
see if you could expand a little bit about that.
So I'll just share one or two tips. So when it comes
Okay.
to being your authentic self, number one, you've got to have an identity of who you are. So you've got to know who you are. Who are you? When people ask you, who are you? What do you do? You've got to be able to explain yourself and be very confident and be articulate. Communication is very, very important. And so, own your own story, own it, you understand, and make sure that you're able to share that story at any time, whether you're sharing it on a podcast as a podcast guest, whether you're sharing it as a presentation, or you're having a training or delivering a virtual conference. You're being called to come and speak. You've got to be able to own your authentic story and shine in your lane. Be comfortable and be your greatest cheerleader. Sometimes we're looking for validation from different people. Sometimes we don't even need to be validated because we are enough. Women has to understand that you are enough the way you are. Your story is your story, and it's so powerful. And the more you share your story, the more you'll be able to find people who can actually help and support you. Someone can actually offer you an opportunity to help you to write a book so that you can actually turn that story into a profitable business. Someone can actually offer you an opportunity for you to actually set up a blog so that you can start sharing your authentic journey, the processes. And also, you can start teaching people how to actually, share their story of how you've been able to overcome your own setbacks, your own challenges, things like that. So I would say, be unique, be real, and share it from the heart, and be yourself. You can't be nobody else, and just own your story and stay in your lane and be focused.
That is
Oh
beautiful.
my
Thank you.
gosh.
That is so awesome. We're in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the show already. It goes by so fast. So I have to ask you one thing. Can you share one action step someone can do, for their story, to share their story? What tip would you share with them? And then we're going to have to go into your offer because you got a special offer for our audience. And then we have to close out the show.
Okay, so when it comes to sharing your story, now we have all been given the power of the voice. Everybody has a voice. And so what I would suggest is to use it. Now, some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts. So some of us who are introvert, like myself, you may not believe I am. So it's about really using your voice as a powerful tool to spread your message, right? And so that means that you can actually show up online and just click a button by showing up live and sharing your story. Or you can actually use the power of podcasting, because with podcasting, you have two options. You can actually do an audio, or you can actually do a video cast to be seen. But if you're someone who is just starting and you're just basically testing the waters, and so you may not want to be seen, that's absolutely fine. And that's why I love podcasting, because it allows you to be able to be behind the scene and also just do an audio recording. And so you can start sharing your voice, sharing your stories, sharing your message through podcasting, and start uploading it so that people can actually learn from your story and experience your journey, and also have an opportunity to work with you if you have a strategic plan in place, a call to action of what you're going to offer them at the end of your story. So it's important that you start to use your voice, because the more you use your voice, the more people are able to hear your story, and then you're able to be heard, to be seen, and to be more visible.
That's brilliant. No, thank you. And then would you like to share the your offer? Then we're gonna Planning and I are gonna take turns closing out the show. So yeah, so awesome. And you want to share your offer real
Fantastic.
quick?
Yes, absolutely, definitely. So what I've done is to actually put together an amazing coaching program, which is actually for women in business and also for coaches, as well as service-based business. And so this is a 6 weeks podcast coaching program, and this is actually for for you, if you are thinking of launching your own podcast and you want to start but you're not really sure how to, and you would like to communicate your brand to more people more quickly, or maybe you want to actually have help to be able to define your concept and also to plan your content. And maybe sometimes you're very confused about the technical aspects of producing and launching a podcast. Well, this coaching program will be delivered 2-hour sessions over 6 weeks. And so each session will be able to go through all the podcasting elements to be able to help you and help you to be equipped, and also help you to gain knowledge and skills for you to be able to implement them and start your podcast within 6 weeks. I'll be able to give you feedback and also support you on your podcast elements, and also provide, the amazing one-to-one session with you as well to be able to guide you through. So the classes are very limited, and spaces are filling up very fast.
Oh,
so
they needed to get in contact with you straight away then. How they can contact you?
So they could contact me actually by, just clicking on my scheduling link and just book an appointment with me. I'll be able to actually give them some support and clarity just to find out exactly where their pain point is in terms of starting a podcast. And we can actually take it from there, and they can now become registered as one of my candidates and my clients.
Do you have the website or the email?
Yeah, so that would be on my, so if you contact me on LinkedIn, I'll be able to actually send you the link. And also, and also my Calendly link as well, which I've already shared with you all. You can actually share that as well. That will be able to get you booked for you to have a slot with me, and we'll take it from there.
Perfect.
That's great. So you can contact Hannah Kupoluyi. That it's a Kupoluyi. Hannah is with the H at the edge. So we gotta go. We finished the time. It just flew by like very, very quickly. So thank you so much,
that was
Hannah,
really
for
quick.
all your amazing tips.
Yeah.
So thank you. I want to say really thank you so much for being here, Hannah. You've been a fantastic guest, and looking forward to working with you in the future as well. So, and then she gave us so many valuable tips for audience to help them grow themselves and their business and their Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show. So please remember, she was talking about crafting the message to her story. So powerful. Definitely listen to it in the replay. And she has her offer, and you could go to her LinkedIn and go and book her for a free strategy session, which I definitely encourage you to take advantage of. And it's at LinkedIn/2TNA2Y. Just making sure I got that correct. And oh my gosh, Plinny, would you like to finish out the show?
Yeah. We're at the end of another show on Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show. And thank you so much for joining us again in this episode. And thanks again, Hannah, for all the great tips, ideas. And stay with us next week again for more how to make your marketing and your mindset work for you. Our guest for next week's show will be providing more tips. So join us again every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio. Until next time, this is your co-host, Plinny Phoenix, your host, Mary Mason. Thank you so much. And saying bye for now. And Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. This ends this week's show. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Go to our radio page and check out the gifts from our speakers. We'll see you next time on Marketing Mindset Mastery with your host, Marie Mason.